It was eerie for Rhea to watch the pouring rain on the storm-tossed sea, feel the ship heave on the waves, yet the wind whipping over the boat held no dampness. Rhea could see the water shield around them, if she looked for it, appearing as a clear line, like a bubble. The buzz of the air and the hum in her blood were more audible than the storm or the thunder, more immediate than the wind or boat. She wondered what it was like to be Neri, building a storm while protecting them at the same time. "I think that is enough," Lavinia said, as she strained to see her parents' ship in the pelting rain and lowering skies. It was not faring well. Lightning exposed the larger ship, still with all sails flying and fighting the wind to reach them. "I haven't been feeding the storm for a few minutes now," Neri said. Despite her calm voice, Neri looked nervous. The lightning flashed again, revealing the other ship heeled over against the onslaught of wind. A second flash silhouetted the mound of a rock island behind it. "You have to stop it!" Lavinia yelled, voice piercing and rising higher than the wind that screamed through the rigging of the ship. "I can't control the storm. It is beyond me now. They are too close to the rocks. I'm trying to keep the boat away," Neri said, voice thick with desperation. Her eyes were closed as she struggled with the sea. "Pull them away! Why can't you pull them away?" Lavinia clutched the rail as she leaned over the edge of their ship above the storm-tossed sea. There was no sign of her parents' ship. "I can't match the wind with the current. They need to drop some sails." Panic echoed in Neri's voice along with confusion. Any other captain would have dropped or reefed the sails in such a storm. Even as a novice sailor, Rhea knew that. Another flash showed the boat slammed by a gust of wind. It tipped under the force, rolling onto its side. A large mainsail tore, the sound exploding through the storm. "No!" Lavinia screamed, nearly throwing herself over the rail. Ty grabbed onto her before she fell into the tossing sea. Neri staggered, falling to her knees. The itch of her power disappeared from around the boat. The desire to act that the power had created in Rhea lifted as well. Instead, she felt a shift as Neri's power wrapped around Lavinia's parents' ship. The wind-driven hull slid closer to the rocks of the island. Rhea stood, one hand against the cabin's door, while she looked back toward the other boat. All the while, part of her mingled with Neri's power around the larger ship. With Neri's concentration on saving the larger ship, she no longer eased the strength of the waves around them or stopped the rain. Raindrops hammered the deck of the boat and left dark rings on their clothes. The small boat rocked with a sickening motion, riding the crests and troughs of the building waves. "No," Neri whispered in desperation. The flashes of light showed the ship beaten by the wind and nearly flattened onto its side. The force of emotions welling from Lavinia and Ty slammed into Rhea as they watched their parents' boat seconds from floundering on storm-lashed rocks. Their pain opened a floodgate of emotion in Rhea as well. Her own family was assuredly on the other ship with theirs. Power buzzed in the air around the gray dawn once more. Rhea straightened, standing without support despite the surging sea, as energy flowed from her, feeding on emotions and her desire to use what sang in her blood. The air tasted purified for a moment, no longer carrying the heavy saltiness of the sea. And then Rhea released the power that had built around her. For a moment, the other ship was illuminated, with its gunwales nearly under water and its torn sails shredding further in the wind. Then it was gone. Everyone froze on the tossing, rain-slicked deck of the Grey Dawn. "What did you do?" Neri asked, voice trembling. Rhea shivered the way she had when she'd stopped the knife. As she came back to herself, her sureness faded. She stumbled, reached for the support of the cabin. Ty caught her. "They're safe. I sent them home. They're just outside the harbor at Myricene. It was all I could think to do, to move them somewhere away from the rocks, but where they could repair the boat. It's where our families first met," Rhea said, gazing into Ty's amazed eyes. "You saved them," Lavinia exclaimed, throwing her arms around Rhea and her brother. Neri stared at Rhea, her face draining of color. "Don't you understand what you did, Rhea? You used your power. We are in worse danger than the other boat ever faced," Neri shouted. "But we got away last time. There's plenty of time," Rhea replied, holding on to Ty. Neri went to answer, then stopped. Her head snapped upwards, eyes widening as lavender infused them again. "There is something large, cutting through the clouds." It was all she had a chance to say before a massive creature plummeted from the sky and slammed into the water,